Welcome to this explainer. We've all seen them, right? Those frazzled travelers at the cruise terminal, literally sweating before they even cross the gangway. They're already totally overwhelmed by the logistics of their own vacation. Well, today, we're going to completely flip that script. We're shifting your mindset from just showing up at the dock to building a completely stress-free voyage before you even leave your house. Because honestly, the absolute best cruise experiences are built before anyone ever steps on board. Whether it's your first or your 50th cruise, the small logistical choices you make weeks in advance are an absolute game changer for your comfort, your wallet, and your overall peace of mind.
In this explainer, we're breaking down exactly how to cruise smarter. We'll cover choosing your perfect cabin, embarkation day essentials, building your financial safety net, avoiding hidden onboard costs, and mastering port punctuality.
Section 1. Choosing your perfect cabin. Avoid the noise.
It's kind of wild to think about, right? Where exactly should you sleep on a massive floating city? Most first-timers just spend hours agonizing over deck numbers, comparing deck 4 to deck 10, wondering about the sea views, and then they just book the cheapest option and call it a day. But actually, scratch that. That skips the absolute most crucial detail. Your cabin's position shapes your entire experience in ways that just don't show up in the shiny brochures. And let's be real, the cruise lines aren't exactly going to advertise the noisy spots.
Take the highly sought-after aft cabin, the ones at the very, very back of the ship. The romanticized version is absolutely spectacular. You get the sweeping wake view, a balcony that feels like it's just floating endlessly over the ocean. It's a dream. But the harsh reality? Well, the massive engines and propulsion systems are sitting right back there too. And you can feel that mechanical vibration right through the floor, especially when the ship is doing all that heavy maneuvering into port early in the morning. Plus, on these huge modern megaships, the aft can be a ridiculously long walk from the main elevators or the gangway. Doing that massive trek multiple times a day is absolutely exhausting, especially when you're trying to get off early for port excursions.
You literally have to spend just 5 extra minutes looking at a deck plan before booking to see exactly what's above and below your room. It is absolutely crucial. If you book directly under a pool deck, oh man, you're going to be dealing with the 6 a.m. deck chair drag race as the crew sets up for the day. It literally sounds like bowling balls rolling across your ceiling. No joke. And if you're above a theater or the main galley, you're picking up thumping bass right through the floor late at night. Also, if you're even slightly prone to motion sickness, you definitely want to avoid forward cabins on high decks, which feel the most movement for sure. Instead, target lower decks near the midship, the ship's true pivot point, for the quietest, most stable ride possible.
Section 2. Embarkation Day Essentials. The carry-on strategy.
So most passengers treat embarkation like the official kickoff of the vacation. Party time, right? But the boarding reality looks pretty different. Imagine this. You board the ship at 10 a.m., totally pumped to drop your bags and hit the pool by 1 p.m. But your checked luggage? It's stuck in this massive behind-the-scenes sorting maze along with the bags of 4,000 other people. Because of that, your stuff often doesn't show up at your cabin until 5 p.m. or sometimes even later. So those first several hours actually feel just like a long travel day, and your checked bags are absolutely nowhere to be found.
If you want to start your trip totally relaxed instead of stressing out on the back foot, you need what I call the 6-hour survival carry-on bag. This is what absolutely must be in your carry-on to survive the first 6 hours. Any daytime medication, that stays with you. So does your swimsuit. Just picture sitting miserably in heavy travel clothes in the sticky Caribbean heat while everyone else is splashing around, all because your swimsuit is locked in a suitcase down on deck 2. Sunscreen is just as vital. Toss in a fresh change of clothes, especially if you travel through a hot, crowded terminal. And of course, your travel documents need to be instantly accessible, not buried in a bag that's on a totally different deck.
Now, once you finally get to your cabin, you might be super tempted to decorate the door. It's a huge trend right now, it's fun, but we really got to talk about privacy for a second. An untouched, super elaborate door decoration accidentally advertises an empty room to literally thousands of strangers walking by over the week. It's kind of counterintuitive. A big sign saying celebrating 30 years or family of 5 tells everyone your identity, your group size, and why you're there. When those little promotional flyers sit untouched outside that highly decorated door all afternoon, it basically broadcasts to the whole ship that you're out for the day. Honestly, a simple, small magnet just to help you spot your door in a long hallway is a much safer, practical tool than a giant personalized banner.
Section 3. The financial safety net. Insurance and pre-booking. Tens of thousands of dollars. Take a long moment to let that number sink in.
That massive figure is the potential out-of-pocket cost of an uninsured helicopter airlift from a remote sailing location. Yeah, it's terrifying. Why skipping travel insurance could cost you thousands in medical fees is a truth a lot of people just completely ignore. Many travelers just don't realize that the ship's medical center is not some standard covered clinic. It basically operates as a private, out-of-network medical facility floating in the middle of the ocean. A simple, basic consultation can run into the hundreds of dollars, and the first time people learn this is when a massive charge pops up on their final onboard account. A comprehensive travel insurance policy with emergency medical evacuation, it typically costs just a tiny, tiny fraction of what a single serious incident would run you if you were uninsured. It's a total no-brainer.
Let's talk about how planning ahead also completely upgrades your dining experience and honestly saves you money. First-timers often find themselves stuck eating a heavy steak dinner at a super awkward 5:30 p.m. slot on a port day, all because they waited until they boarded to figure out their meals. You can avoid this entirely. Step 1. Log into your cruise line's portal weeks or even months early. Step 2. Check the specialty pricing because sometimes they run fantastic pre-booking discounts online. Step 3. Lock in the absolute best reservation times right from your couch at home. Because I promise you, that prime 7 p.m. table you won on the last night, it was scooped up before the ship even left the dock.
Section 4. Avoiding hidden onboard costs. Abstract spending and roaming.
The booking fare you pay online, that's really just a starting point. It covers your room and basic food. But then comes the onboard reality. We're talking daily gratuity service charges running $15 to $20 or more per person per day. Then add on Wi-Fi, drink packages, excursions, maybe a spa treatment. The cruise lines expertly design this whole system so spending feels dangerously abstract. It doesn't feel like real money because you're just tapping a plastic key card or a wearable medallion, right? There's no physical cash changing hands. It is a total psychological trap. Deciding on these add-ons in advance forces that financial decision to happen on land where the numbers actually feel real, and it keeps you from a massive day-ruining shock when you get your final bill.
3 seconds. That is literally exactly how long it takes to toggle on airplane mode on your smartphone before the ship leaves the dock. It's a tiny little swipe, but that 3-second action will save you from a massive, incredibly expensive maritime roaming trap.
Here is the roaming trap you absolutely have to watch out for. When your phone connects to the ship's maritime cellular network, the rates can be dramatically higher than standard international roaming. And here's the absolute kicker. Background phone apps sync automatically. Just imagine taking a nice, relaxing nap by the pool while your phone quietly downloads a massive 2 GB software update in international waters. Location services check in, emails refresh, social media apps pull down new videos. All of this happens completely quietly in your pocket, triggering shocking cellular data charges without you ever making a single phone call. It's a painful way to return to a huge $500 bill while simple sitting in a lounge chair, but it happens every single sailing. Just set it to airplane mode, you can still connect to the ship's Wi-Fi network perfectly fine.
Section 5. Port safety and punctuality. Don't get left behind.
The ship leaves on time whether you're on it or not. This is the absolute golden rule of cruising. Every single year, without fail, passengers stand on a dock watching their massive ship literally sail away without them. You can find whole compilations of these infamous pier runners online, people sprinting down the dock, bags flapping in the wind, as the ship's horn blows. The ship operates on a rigorous schedule involving strict berth allocations, incoming tides, and incredibly precise fuel calculations. There is absolutely no grace period for latecomers. When that gangway comes up, it comes up.
Let's contrast how you spend your time in port, and most importantly, where the liability falls. If you book a ship excursion and your tour is delayed, the ship almost always waits because, well, the cruise line created the problem. But if you book an independent tour, the full liability shifts entirely to you, the traveler. One traffic jam on the winding road back to port, or one taxi that blows a tire, and the cascade of failures begins. You aren't just paying for a taxi, you're suddenly paying for emergency international flights, unexpected overnight hotels, and the sheer panic of trying to catch up to the ship at the next country. The cost of missing the ship is completely on your shoulders.
If you do decide to go independent, you absolutely must adhere to the 90-minute buffer. This is the absolute minimum safe return time you should plan for independent tours before the all-aboard call is even made. Let that sink in. 90 minutes of pure, built-in peace of mind. If your desired independent itinerary cannot comfortably accommodate this 90-minute margin of safety, then paying the premium for the cruise line's own excursion is absolutely worth every single penny. You are basically buying insurance against being left behind.
And if you do happen to miss the ship, this next little detail is exactly what separates a headache from a full-blown nightmare. On certain closed-loop cruises from the US, a birth certificate technically works for boarding the ship, but you absolutely need a passport to fly home from a foreign port in an emergency. Getting an emergency passport issued abroad by a consulate is expensive, it takes forever, and it is incredibly stressful. Missing the ship with no passport is exactly the kind of compounding situation that turns a bad travel day into a genuinely serious international crisis. So please, always bring your passport.
Section 6, Final Insider Summary. Win before you sail.
So, what does this all mean? While the real luxury upgrade on any cruise isn't a massive suite, it's not a premium drink package, or some private cabana shore excursion, it's the peace of mind that comes from doing your homework before you arrive. Think about it. That cabin placement, that was a smart research decision. The 6-hour carry-on, a clever packing decision. Flicking on airplane mode, just a tiny settings change. The absolute most relaxed passengers on board are simply the ones who made all their important logistical decisions before they ever saw the gangway.
Remember, your vacation starts long before boarding day. With these logistical secrets in your toolkit, you are officially ready to travel with total confidence, avoid those hidden traps, and truly relax. So, what's the one pre-cruise mistake you will never, ever make again? Or what's the first thing you'll prepare for your next voyage? Think about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I hope your next voyage is an absolute breeze. See you next time.